Alex Berenson is not a theologian. He's a science reporter. He's the best science reporter in the United States. He has been covering Tony Fauci since the very first day, and he joins us tonight to assess these emails and what they tell us. Alex Berenson, thank you for coming on tonight. There are a lot of emails here. We explain only a few of them. You've read them. What jumped out at you? What have you learned today?
So yes, there are a lot of emails. You did a really great job there laying out the most important stuff. What I would say is, I think it's really important to think back to January 31st, 2020 and February 1st and 2nd, 2020. The reports coming out of China were horrifying. There was fear that the infection fatality rate, that the number of people who died from this was going to be 3 or 4%. And that meant that if the Chinese couldn't contain this virus and it spread worldwide, it might be 10 million Americans who died. Okay, 3%
Yes.
of the country's population is 10 million. 200 million plus people might have died worldwide if the numbers coming out of China were as bad as they seemed at first. Okay, so if you're Tony Fauci, you know this better than anybody. You know what the risk is here. You know it first. You're hearing from doctors. You're hearing from people in China. And so the idea that this might have come out of a lab in China that you helped finance, even minimally, and that experiments that you supported, even if it wasn't a specific experiment that you supported, but the idea of gain-of-function research that you supported was possibly responsible for this, that you're going to be tarred and feathered. And so, I mean, clearly, when he received that email from Christian Anderson, he was extremely upset. You can see it in what he tells Hugh Auchincloss, his deputy, to do. He says, you need to be ready. Today's going to be a big day. And now we're going to have a secret conference call to talk about what we really know and don't know about this. So here's what I'll say. There's still a tremendous amount we don't know about.
That's right.
First of all, we don't have proof that this came out of the Wuhan lab yet, okay? And we may never have proof, because the people who should have been pushing for an investigation in 2020 instead steered us in a completely different direction and made it impossible for anybody but you and me and a few other, lost souls to question whether or not this might have been a lab leak after all. And we were called racist and anti-Chinese for even doing so, when the idea that somehow this might have been the result of Chinese people eating bats and pangolins is not racist, but the idea it's Chinese scientists making a mistake is racist is a joke. So at best, you have a guy who didn't want this investigated and who worked in secret, because he worked with Christian Anderson to put that paper, to put a paper in Nature magazine in March. He consulted with Christian Anderson. It's in the emails on that paper, although his name is not on it. And that paper became something that steered people away from questioning even the idea of a lab leak for more than a year. And now it may be too late.
What an amazing story. I mean, you're a novelist in addition to everything else. I don't think you'd dare write a storyline like this. No one would believe it. But this one seems to be
no,
true.
it's great, and the greatest thing is the email where he tells Hugh Auchincloss, it's going to be a big day. I mean, it's really movie villain quality. And Tucker, look, we could talk about this all. I know you have a ton of guests. We could talk about this all day. We've even started to talk about the failures of the media on this. But I would just say, I don't normally say this. If you really want to know more, you should come check out my Twitter feed, and you should check out the other people who are pushing this, because the media is not reporting it.
No, they're liars. Alex Berenson, I appreciate you coming on tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Tucker.